What's up, y'all? Frank Burrow here. Welcome to Addiction Warfare. Safe to say we made it. If you're listening to this, we made it through 2020. Hell of a year for everybody. So, congratulations. It's a new year. Let's get off to a good start. This is Addiction Warfare. We're going to be talking about a lot of topics, but all surrounding around addiction and recovery. Something I feel passionate about. I love recovery. I love to help people. And so I'm just blessed and honored to be here. Before we jump into the first episode, which is called Brian's Battle, that's my story. I just want to tell folks out there, if you're struggling right now and you need some help, please don't hesitate to call somebody. If you don't know who to call, there is an awesome hotline. It's 1-800-662-HELP. Call that hotline. They're going to guide you and direct you to services. Please do not hesitate to call. If you're in danger to yourself or others, call 911 and we'll go to your local emergency room. This is so vital. This is a devastating disease. It's nothing to play with. So please, guys, be safe out there. I lost my father to this disease. I've lost friends. I've seen families be destroyed, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the battle. But that's why I'm here. I want to share my truth, and hopefully it can help somebody. So I'm going to jump right into it. I come from a long line of alcoholism and addiction in my family. My mother and my father were both alcoholics and addicts. And so you can say that it's in the bloodline. My first memory was me and my siblings and my mom. We're all in the living room watching TV. We're all on the floor, sitting on the floor. That's how it used to be. And I just remember thinking, something's missing. Something's missing. And I believe that feeling was because my father was never around. And I could tell you that because from the day that I knew that he was gone to the day he died, I just felt like I needed him in my life. And I never quite had that. But my mom did a hell of a job. I can't say she didn't. I mean, she raised 5 kids on her own. I had 2 brothers, 2 sisters. So we had a big family. It was chaos. It was crazy. We were barely making ends meet. We were poor. So, but we made it and we had each other. And that was what was important. And so I can't say I had a horrible childhood. I could just say that it was busy and chaotic. And so I just found my way. And from an early age, I just learned how to escape. I learned how to find my own little world. I think that was my first drug of choice, honestly, was fantasy. It was just the ability to be able to check out in my own world. I had control and everything was okay. Even though the world was crazy around me, everything was safe. But I was a lost child. I was a confused child. I was a lonely child, even in a house full of people. I just never really felt like I belonged or fit in anywhere. I couldn't really understand why I felt that way, but I did. And so starting off, the first place I felt that was school, elementary school, the class clown, the cut up. I just tried to find my way, make noises and be a fool. Maybe people will like me, but that affliction or that disconnect was there. And I was never content. I wanted to be anybody but myself. I wanted to be anywhere but where I was. Every kid, was better than me. I remember this kid, Blake, man, he had the most gorgeous hair in the world and he would flick it out of his face. And I was like, man, I wish I had his hair. And because my hair was red and I had a bowl cut. Or Jason, he always had the brand new pair of Jordans, just looking fly. And I wanted to be him. I had Velcro and I wear corduroys. So it was just always comparing myself to others and never measuring up, right? But I never really looked at what I had either. So no wonder I always felt like there was never enough. So that carried on to middle school. And meanwhile, my dad would poke in and out. So I would get a few glimpses of what it would be like to have a dad. He would come in and he was so cool and suave. He was from Philadelphia, so he would come down to visit. He would take us out to get ice cream or whatever, and we would bond a little. And I was just mesmerized by him. I idolized him. He was so cool from Philly, the Italian swag, and I wanted to be him and wanted to be with him. But then he was gone again. So there I went back into my little hole. And then come middle school, I did the same thing. I had to fit in. So I started to be more creative. I started to really act a fool. Let me jump out of this window in front of everybody. So everybody thinks I'm so cool. And skipping class and smoking and just being bad. And I would get in trouble and get ISS. And then they put me in smaller classes. So I was this attention seeking was backfiring for me because now I'm in smaller class. Now I'm more isolated, and it just sucked. I just wanted to be loved, to be liked. I think that was the really underlying drive was to be well liked. So I became the entertainer, and that at least got me attention, but it got me negative attention as well. I moved on. I started stealing stuff, going out at night and looking in cars and taking whatever's there, stealing from stores, getting arrested a few times before I even got to high school. And then here comes high school. I was 15, 14, 15 years old. And I discovered my savior, alcohol and drugs. My older siblings, they drank and they did drugs. They smoked pot. And so it looked exciting and I wanted to do that. So before I knew it, I was getting high, drinking before I even breached high school. And meanwhile, my home, I feel like things are good. Essentially, my mom did a hell of a job. She raised all five of us kids. She went back to school, got her master's degree. She just did amazing. And such a strong woman. It took us out of poverty, got us to Greensboro, and that's when I really felt like I was thriving, meeting friends. But I had to look back. We moved probably 6, 7, 8 times before I even got to high school. So I never really found my place, found my people, found my tribe, so to speak. So meanwhile, my mom's thriving and she's got the career of her dreams. We're doing okay considering. And she was going to work one day, and I remember it so vividly because the lady was knocking on the door. She's like, "Your mom's down here. She fell." And I was like, "What?" And so we go down. Me and my siblings, we go down, and there's my mom laying on the steps. And her foot is all mangled up. Oh, it was gruesome. And she had slipped on a patch of ice and shattered her foot. And man, that was devastating. What happened next, I don't think anybody could have foreseen. But the way it worked out, it was like had multiple surgeries, so she was in a wheelchair, she was disabled. We had bought this new house, so we had a downstairs. Us kids had more freedom than ever. We were running wild, getting high, and she was recovering. And then my dad comes into town, right, to help. My mother, he must have convinced my mom to let him come and stay with her to help her with the kids. And so it was kind of ironic. It was like everything I wanted, but at the same time, it wasn't a good situation. My mom and dad, there's a reason why they're divorced and they're not together. There's a reason why. I didn't know all the details, but I learned later, my mom and dad were addicts and alcoholics, and she got recovery, she found recovery, and he didn't. And so therefore they had to part ways, and he wasn't good for us, even though he loved us and he was a great man, great father when he was clean, but he never really found recovery. So my mom had did all that raising us and all that. It was because she was clean. So I didn't really know all that, but I soon found out because prescription pills, my dad coming to town, that combination was bad, and my mom relapsed. And her relapse was so severe. Oh man, it was so severe. I just remember thinking like, what's going on? Like something ain't right around here. Because right before everything blew up, it was like I had my mom, my dad, we were all under one roof. You know, we had a little glimpse of what it'd be like to be a family, and then it just blew up, fell apart. Everything my mom worked for in 12 years was gone. It was just gone within a year and a half. You know, we lost the house, we lost the car, she lost her job, her career, everything was over. My dad, he came and went. You know, he skipped town after that. He went to Charlotte. My brother went to Charlotte. My sisters, they moved to Virginia with my mom, and me, I stayed in Greensboro. It was like everybody just scattered. And here I am, 15, 16 years old. Like, what in the hell? I don't even know. I'm still a kid. I mean, I definitely wasn't focused on school or anything else. So I went to my comfort zone, which was the alcohol and the drugs. I mean, that's all I knew. I had already started ripping and running. So when I experienced all that discomfort and change, I just went harder into the drugs, the alcohol, anything to make me feel better. School, I said, forget school. I dropped out. By the time I was 17 years old, you know, I'm dropping out and I'm just running wild. And that this family, it was my girlfriend at the time, her family brought me in into their home because I really had nowhere to go. And it's a gift, honestly, because I don't know where I would be right now if they didn't bring me in. Because I was at that crossroad where I had all the ammunition, the pain, the victimhood. You know, I'm such a victim. You know, my family's gone. I got the drugs, the alcohol. You know, I'm a little thug, wannabe, little gangster, trying to sell drugs, right? So I was at that stage where I was gonna be gone. So at least I had some stability right then. Those people helped me out. They tried to guide me, try to get me into school, or they said if you're not gonna go to school, then you need to work. So that was a blessing, but I still felt empty, lost, more lost than ever. You know, I couldn't bear to see my mother suffering in addiction because it was so bad. You know, she getting caught shoplifting. And no kid should have to see their mom being picked up for shoplifting, but I witnessed that and it was horrible. But it just showed me the nature of this disease, and it was so furious and unforgiving. And my sisters, you know, they had to see the worst because they lived with her. But it was a tragic time all around from 15 to 18 because right before my 18th birthday, I get a call from my sister in the middle of the night. And she said, our dad's dead. And I'm like, what? I'm sorry, what? She said, dad's dead. And I'm like, what? How? What happened? You know, he had overdosed, died on the bathroom floor. And that, I was just crushed because there's no honor and glory in that, right? That's your dad. That's my dad. I had to go see him, see his body. And it's like, man, I'm not even a man yet. I'm still a kid. I was confused. I didn't even know he did drugs like that. Thought he was alcohol. Everything came to the head. All the truth came out. You know, my mom and dad were just sick and suffering alcoholics and addicts. And the disease won. It took him, and he left behind 7 kids without no father. 7 kids. There was 5 of us, and he had 2 other children from other women. And at the end of the day, it was a bunch of fatherless kids, and that's all that mattered. It didn't matter the who, what, when, where, house. All that mattered was he was gone. And so from 18 to 28 years old, I didn't really draw a sober breath. I didn't feel. I didn't cope. I didn't really do anything with my life. I didn't move forward. I didn't have no drive, no ambition, no goals, no dreams. I'm just a high school dropout. My family's messed up, and poor me. And so I drank and I drug, and that's it for 10 years. 10 years. I mean, I didn't even care. I didn't even want to be different. I was okay with my life. That's the saddest part. I didn't know no better. I didn't know there was another way to live. Even though my mom had been working on me, she'd been working on me because as sick as she was, even at her worst, she always tried to teach us kids lessons and tell us about this recovery world. See, she was working in the field of addiction. She had found recovery. She knew it. She understood it. And even though she was trying to fight back from a relapse, she always planted these seeds. And I think that was very important when 2009 came around. There I was, 28 years old, no education, no job, nothing to offer the world. And all of a sudden, my girlfriend, she's pregnant. She's like, we're gonna have a kid. I'm like, what? Like, what? I can't even take care of myself. And so it was this week, it was the same time of year, 12 years ago, when I had this amazing, just spiritual awakening, epiphany, moment of clarity, whatever you want to call it, man. It was just everything became clear. And I could see for the first time my life for what it was. And all of a sudden, it did matter. It mattered that I didn't have nothing to offer a kid or anyone. I felt the pain for the first time. I could feel, I was in that moment. And I was like, something's got to give, something's got to change. And so I reached out to the only person I really knew how to reach out to, and it was my mom. And I said, Mom, I need some help. I need some help, Mama. And she really did, man. She blessed me. She got me to the right place. She got me to the people who could help me. And these people, man, they embraced me and they loved me. They just helped me. And they didn't judge me at all. I was a train wreck. I was a bum. They didn't judge me. They said, come with us, Brian. We're going to help you. And we're going to teach you how to live. Because you don't know how to live sober. So first things first, you need to surrender and you need to let us help you. And for the first time in my life, I stopped fighting. See, I had spent my life fighting the wrong battle. I'm thinking, never give in, right? Because that's what I was taught. But it's all bullshit. See, really what I had to do, I had to surrender to be free. I had to let people help me. I had to be shown how to live. My best thinking got me nowhere. I had to admit that. I had to lower my pride and say, Brian, you're beat. You're beat. So I surrendered, man. And when I did that, my life changed immediately. I mean, from the start, miracle after miracle. You know, I got that ambition back. I got that love for myself back. Self-respect. I wanted to be different. I signed up for school because I wanted to be educated. I was like, I'm going to be a counselor like my mom. And I signed up and I started to achieve these goals. I was passing classes. I was getting straight A's, man. I felt like a man. I felt like successful. I got a job, started making some income. Meanwhile, that baby boy, he was coming. I was going to have a boy. And there I was 6 months sober and my son was born. And he was the most beautiful thing I ever seen in my life. Red hair, just pure. and I was sober and I was present in that moment. And from then on, it really took off because I now had something to fight for. I was like, I want to break the cycle of my family. Tired of this dysfunctional alcoholic bloodline. I'm gonna raise my son right, and so I just put all my eggs in one basket. I was like, I'm gonna be best father these kids ever had. Because I went, my daughter came soon after him, and I was working, going to school, two kids, and life got busy. And it was good, but it was all good. It was all good things. Then my third kid came, and man, I'm like, whoa, whoa, all right, I get it. All right, I know how this thing works. All right, I need to slow down. Ginger Central, redhead babies everywhere. And so it was such an awesome time, but it was also a challenging time for me. See, I had started to experience a lot of new challenges that I wasn't prepared for. I wasn't prepared to be successful and to be well liked and loved and respected. I wasn't prepared to be the man of the family, the breadwinner, right? But I ate it up and it started to feed this other side of me that I didn't really ever have because I was always, I felt like a bump, right? So it was like a new high, and I don't think I was prepared for that. So it brought new challenges because I was selfish and self-centered, and it fed that. And it was like, it fed the ego. Look at me. I'm a big shot. Look, I'm a counselor now. Got the job of my dreams. Look at me. I'm like the perfect dad and husband and all this. And so I put focus on like the image, and I neglected to put in the work to keep what I had. See, I had this affliction whereas I always needed more, or this sense of like I need more. I need more education. So I went back to school, and I was just juggling so much, right? That I couldn't give enough to each area of my life. So they began to suffer. My marriage began to suffer, right? My job didn't get 100% of me. My kids didn't get, the 100% of me because there wasn't enough to go around. I didn't need to be juggling all that. So it kind of pulled me out away from this beautiful source of recovery, and it got me into that place again where it was just me. I was on an island again, and I'm like, man, what happened? How did this happen? So in hindsight, I look back and I can see where I made my mistakes, but at the time I didn't see it. And so I had to experience that pain. I had to almost hit another bottom in recovery. It was right around 2016, I'm getting separated from my wife and my family units being broke up. And I'm like, everything's falling apart. My mom gets sick. My mom finally gets back into recovery, and like she's so proud of me. She sees me pick up my chip, right? Brian, you're such a good example of a man, a father, a husband. You're amazing. And meanwhile, my life's falling apart. So she gets sick, and she's diagnosed with cancer in March. And then it was stage 4, and then she was gone. She was gone so fast. It was Mother's Day, May of 2016. And we had to, pull the plug. She couldn't make it. And then she was gone. My mom was gone. Like she was my rock. She was everything to me. She birthed me into recovery, and she birthed me, period. She taught me so much. And I feel like I lost another piece of me. And I should have been working on my marriage and trying to patch up everything, but I went further into a depression, and I just I hit a bottom. And so thank God that I didn't drink and drug, and I had to be reminded that, Brian, that's the most important thing right now, because there ain't nothing that a drink or drug won't make worse. And so I had to be taught that. I had to be helped. I had to be pulled out of the muck. I had to be saved and say, Brian, don't throw in the towel, brother. Listen, you're still sober. You can still fight, brother. let's fight back. And so I started fighting back, man, with everything I had. I started to do the things that got me where I was. I started to remember where I came from. I started to be grateful for what I had, not even think about what I needed. Being grateful, enjoying the moment, doing this one day at a time, and everything I had learned that I just almost forgot. I started to apply those principles again in my life, and I got the results again. I had to start raising these kids. Man, I had those kids full time, I was working full time, so I was still busy, but my perception changed. I had to suffer those losses though to really wake up and see what opportunities I had. And so from then on, I was just like, you know what? No matter what, don't drink no drug, and show people that you can go through some challenges in life and not have to pick up. And that's what I'm here for. That's why I share those painful truths. Like I don't necessarily want to share those terrible moments in my life where I got divorced and broke up my family. That's stuff that I'll never ever really truly get over. But I have to say that I lived and learned through that. I can say that I know my part, and I know that the rest is not mine, and I'm okay with that. And so moving forward and trying to keep my head up, I was able to own my part and then put in the work to change. And I felt like I started to receive the results from that. So it's been challenging 4 years. It's been chaotic, but it's also been amazing and wonderful as well. I get to wake up every day and be a sober father. I get to wake up every day and be a substance abuse professional. And I get to wake up every day and be sober and be able to help somebody because I have the clarity and I have the stability to be someone that you can lean on. I'm built for this. I done been through hell and back, and I'm still standing. So everything was really kind of going good. The kids were thriving. I started to thrive again, and then COVID, Corona, bam. And it would have knocked me on my ass had I not been so secure in my recovery when it came. I legitimately had put in so much work, therapy, and just everything. I put in everything to get to a healthy spot in my life, a stable spot, and then Corona hit. So I'm like, whatever, bring it. But it did bring me some new challenges. I had to homeschool my kids. I had to take out of work. I had to figure out new ways to find recovery. I started to make music. I needed more creative outlets. So I did that, and that was super helpful. I started to process more of that grief from my mother and my father and my marriage. I processed that grief, and I lived through it. Still standing, still fighting. The year kept going on, and things got worse with Corona, and no more, less challenges. Lost my mother-in-law, huge part of my life. She was a huge part of my kid's life. Lost my job. These are things that were just out of my control that I had to experience. And so, did I throw in the towel? No. I woke up every day and I prayed. I say, help me get through this. I reached out to my network. They reached out to me. And we got through it. And so here we are, 2021, and we made it. I'm here. And I'm just grateful. I'm grateful to be sober. I'm grateful to be able to do this podcast. This outlet for me is just huge. It's monumental because I need to help people. And when I'm not working, I'm homeschooling the kids. When they go back to school, I'll go back to work and be able to do what I love to do. But for right now, I'm doing it through this platform. I want to share my experience, share my knowledge, share my truth, my pain and my triumphs, and let you know that you ain't got to live like that. that you can succeed. You know, here I am, a high school dropout, and I ended up graduating college at age 36, right in the middle of the madness, right after I lost my mom. You know, she didn't get to see me graduate, but she would have been so proud. She knew that I was on my way up. You know, I became a certified substance abuse counselor. I got a bachelor's degree from UNCG. I got an associate's degree in human services. Was able to do good in school when I literally was a class clown, derelict, high school dropout. So this program is full of miracles. If I can do it, you can do it. So please just reach out for help and just make a start, make a beginning. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. God bless. Take care.